Hello, I am Coach Nikki Cates, and this is a self-coaching vlog. Hello to you. How are you? I'm well. As you can see, I'm pulled together this morning. Still don't feel like I have a lot of energy, y'all. I might have to go back to the doctors. I have my blood level, have blood panel done to see if I'm like deficit in some area. Then again, it could be hormones. I haven't done anything too crazy. I definitely got my sleep last night. Slept all the way through. Was surprised when alarm went off as usual. So I don't know why I feel so tired. Yesterday, I ended up laying back down before I logged on for work to take a nap. And see, that's the beauty of having, I don't want to say control, but the ability to manage your time yourself. I don't like to say flexibility because then you're being flexible based off someone else's whims instead of your own. A girlfriend of mine, a colleague girlfriend of mine, was telling me while she's she is no longer gainfully employed, but she is pursuing her business endeavors in the process of, I think, looking for employment. But she was telling me how great it is. Like if she wants to take a nap, she can just take a nap. Which when you work from home and you're not being micromanaged like myself, you tend to be able to find some of that flexibility anyway. But it's just something beautiful about being able to make that choice, listening to your body and saying, okay, my body is telling me this, I need to do this, as opposed to having to push your body to do what it absolutely does not want or need to do in that moment. So that's a beautiful thing to aspire to, which kind of aligns with what I want to talk to y'all about today. So let me give you a personal update, and then I want to talk about setting priorities. We talked about this before. That's why we go through this process first thing in the morning of grounding ourselves and our heart and our mind and decluttering and organizing our heart and our mind, right? Yes, I did have my 30 grams in 30 minutes. I drank it a little bit slower this morning, but I did get it done before the 30-minute mark, and I had my water. Only thing I need to do still is walk, which I intend to take Chai out after this and take a walk and get some sun because the sun is out. So that's my intention. That's my plan. The scale moved maybe like a pound, but of course, like I told y'all before, I typically see it in the way my clothes fit way before I see anything reflected on the scale. And I can tell just by looking at myself that I am in a much healthier space than I was a couple of weeks ago. So that's a plus. Now, I am bringing my grandson back with me this weekend when I go down. We'll go up when I go up to Atlanta. I'm bringing him back for a week. So that's going to change my routine, my schedule. I'm going to see if I can stick to it. Obviously, if he stays asleep, because he's older now, I should be able to still hold my routine while he's here, but we'll see what happens. Y'all might see me with some videos with him sitting in my lap or something. We'll see. But no complaints, because being a grandmother is nothing like I expected it to be, and it's everything that I think I needed to get my ish together as a woman in her 40s. So that's just me being transparent. All right, so what I wanted to talk to y'all about is one of the most foundational, okay, so you have two foundational aspects of self-coaching, okay? Transformation, liberation. And those two perspectives are transformation in itself, which is more than change, okay? I want to clarify that, okay, I want to change my body. All right. That's why people are okay with doing drastic things in order to see that change, right? Transformation is when it's a process of change. And it's a process of change that will be sustainable, that will be long term. It will have impact beyond, that instant gratification moment, right? When I did the medical weight loss program, my intention was to have the weight off by the time my family and I were going to Jamaica. I was new in my relationship with my husband, and we had just really kind of sort of maybe a year started dating officially. And we were taking our whole family to Jamaica. And it was my first time meeting his extended family. It was my first time meeting his friends in Jamaica. It was my first time going to Jamaica. And I wanted to, back then, I was very much so worried about what people thought about me. Thank God for deliverance and growth and healing, y'all. Because there is nothing more bonding. Like, it's major bondage when you are so concerned and consumed with what people think about you. I would not be doing these vlog videos on a daily basis if I was still worried about whether y'all thought negatively about me. Okay? Hopefully, as you all see the vulnerabilities of me, you also see the strengths and the wisdom and the beauty that emulates from the inside out. But when you're worried about pleasing people, you're not concerned with if they see you from the inside out, because you don't want them to. So for me, at that time, that journey fit my mindset and my perspective. And those are that's another aspect of what I'm talking about. So we're talking about transformation and liberation. Liberation, okay, we already talked about transformation and change. Let's talk about liberation and freedom. Liberation is yourself being no longer bound, all right, whether it's by societal expectations or spiritual delusionments or negative thinking, self-destructive thoughts and behaviors. Liberation has everything to do with you as an individual. Freedom, that's more so of the collective aspect of having the ability to be free, to make choices. But what I've realized in my most recent self-discovery moments is that liberation is way more important to me now than freedom. So I hope y'all caught that. All right. Obviously, the vertical relationship that you have, right? Because all transformation begins from above and within. Those two aspects of your existence will determine how you show up and move in this world. If you only focus here, you do not have that extra oomph that comes from a vertical relationship with the Lord. Period. Like, just period. Okay? The other thing is this constant cycle of transformation and liberation. Liberation can, when you feel like you are liberated, for instance, from people pleasing, now you're able to transform your life in another way and yourself in another way, because now you are not bound by what people think about you. So you see, there's a continuous working together of those. Mindset and perspective, we talked about that before. Your mindset, which is a part of that process of being liberated. When you renew your mind, when you allow God to renew your mind, when you make the effort to change your perspective by changing the way you think, then that cycle is affected. The mindset and perspective, that's something that is continually working together, okay? So I want you to remember that. Mindset and perspective, transformation and liberation. Now, my aha moment last night, I am now revisiting a workbook on discipleship from that was encouraged by New Birth, because you all know that I am a a distance member, an online member of New Birth under Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant and Dr. Carrie Bryant. And I finally have cracked open this workbook. I've had it for, it hasn't been a year, y'all. don't, please don't judge me. I want to say about 6 months. And I'm finally starting to work through the chapters. It's like, girl, just do day one, like do day one, and then, day two, just do, take it slowly. Don't feel like you have to, overindulge and consume yourself. And old Nikki, that's what I would have done. Okay. So I started working on that. And what jumped out to me at the end of that section, it told us to write down our top 3 priorities, because they were talking about how true Christianity is about discipleship and it's about following Christ. Unfortunately, in the country that we live in now, and honestly, the way the country was built on a Christianity. It was really about one God, not so much about Christ, which is why Gandhi was quoted saying what he was quoted in saying, that he loves our Christ, but he does not love the Christian, because the Christian is not typically in this country reflected as Christ-like. And we see that in the current administration and those that in fact support them. For example, do we need receipts? My girlfriend, my best friend actually, she sent me an article. Was it yesterday or the day before? Y'all, these days be running together sometimes. She sent me this article, and it was about, because we're both veterans, and it was about VA care. So, summarizing and my understanding what the article was saying is, the institution of the VA cannot discriminate against a veteran based on race, sex, gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity. You get the gist, right? All of those protected classes. However, nothing is said about marital status or political affiliation. So individuals are allowed. They have the freedom to be able to discriminate and choose to not serve a veteran that is not married and or a Democrat. When I tell y'all, the article actually says Democrat. I'm getting mad just thinking about it. And I was like, how does this work? So the institution of the VA is saying you can't do this, but the individual can make their own choice to do it? What? First of all, why are we discriminating against women or men that are not married? So we just want a country full of miserably married people? I mean, okay, true story. I think we've seen those days, right? And that's why we have so many divorces now. So are y'all taking away divorce next too? Or because you're divorced, you're going to be punished and you can't be treated at this VA facility? It's mind-boggling to me, y'all. And it's so divisive. I remember when the current administration was coming into office this time. And I remember my spiritual mother reminding us that the Bible tells us that he places those in authority and he requires us to pray for those in authority. And I was like, I can't stand that man. I don't even like to hear him speak, much less pray for him. But I knew that absolutely, most definitely is the word of God. So I was like, okay, Lord, please help me with this. And what my resolution has come to is, yes, I do need to pray for him because his decisions affect everyone that I love, and then some. But I don't have to like him. I don't have to love him as a brother or a friend. Obviously, I need to love him with the love of God, which means that I genuinely want God's best for him. So I find myself praying that God will One, truly save him and draw him close to him and show him the error of his ways. I know that's far-fetched from a natural perspective, y'all. Um, but someone like that holding the power is just, you already know. Let me move on. Oh, I got off track. All right. So anyway, the whole point of this whole thought process for me was that I realized that I needed to revisit my core values, because your core values are what truly matter to you, and they are your foundation. Now, granted, as a Christian, a real Christ-loving, Christ-following, disciple of Christ Christian, our foundation is Christ, right? But you, as a human being, what are your foundational beliefs, your foundational desires? And I'm not just talking about like food and clothes and cars and mansions. I'm talking about what truly matters to you in life. When I go through these core values exercises with my clients, a lot of times we put, either when we start to make our core values list, we tend to put things that matter to others that are supposed to matter to us, or we put the surface level thing instead of getting really, really, really down. Like, you could say a core value for me is beauty, right? Or wealth, because you want to be beautiful and you want to have wealth. However, fast forward 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and you are on your way out of this world. That last 10, 20 years of you being an elder, did life still matter to you even though you didn't think that you still had your beauty? Or something drastic happened and you no longer had wealth? When I ask that question, if you're on your deathbed, is that what's going to matter to you? Most of the time, the client is like, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, so let's drill that down a little bit more. Okay? Is it health? Is it, I know one client, it was autonomy. She wants to have a say on what she does. You know, no one really has, basically myself, like freedom. You know, my core value has been freedom for quite some time, because I need to feel like I have a choice, like every step of the way. If I feel constricted or boxed in, it makes me miserable. So having that understanding about yourself is vital to how you spend your time, how you spend your energy, what you pursue. If you're in business, pursuing entrepreneurship, it determines how you build your business. A lot of times the values you hold personally will become the values of your organization, and it will determine how you move, what you're willing to do to make money, what you're willing to do to accomplish your mission. And so for me personally, faith, family, freedom, courage, authenticity, and self-care were my primary core values. And then I added on inner peace, learning, diversity, and integrity. Last night, as I was revisiting my priorities, I came to this realization that if I say that freedom is my core value, then I am discrediting that I believe that God will supply all of my needs. And He knows exactly what I need before I ask for it. And all I really need to do is ask for it. The Bible tells us to be anxious for nothing, but to pray about everything, right? And that God will give us the peace that surpasses all understanding when we do that. So I understood that focusing on freedom is me focusing on what has automatically been given to me through my relationship with my Lord. And so I was like, well, so what really does matter? So I redid my core values, because in this workbook that I'm just starting to work through for my revisiting my Christian walk, it's like a cross, right? It's called the Disciples Cross. And this part of the cross, like I was saying earlier, is that vertical relationship with God and Jesus Christ. This part of the cross is your relationship with people and the world. And you are at the center of that, you and Jesus, right? So I was thinking about it, like, how does my core values align with that? Because I felt like it was already in alignment, right? Faith, family, transformation, liberation, self-care, and inner peace. Because courage, authenticity, and integrity are, again, already given to me. I already possess these things in my walk and in my transformation that comes from my relationship with the Lord and His Spirit, right? So I don't need to add those things. Diversity and learning, those are automatically coming as a part of my call to transformation and moving in my purpose and my calling. So now I have 6 solid, period, core values in order to prioritize my time, my energy, my efforts, my service, my money, my relationships. So when I'm grounding myself in the morning, it's saying, okay, how can I prioritize my faith? How can I prioritize my family today? How can I prioritize my desire and my need for transformation and liberation? Right? I'm doing that for myself, and I'm doing that for everyone around me. My family, my loved ones, my friends, my colleagues, and you all. Okay? And then after that, self-care and inner peace. Okay? Just like the word tells us, love God with all of your heart, mind, and body. Love others as you love yourself. So I am now properly in alignment, and it feels great. So what does that have to do with my weight and my business? It has everything to do with it, because one, it's my own personal transformations. I am liberating myself in order to move in those personal transformations. And it falls under my self-care and my inner peace, as well as faith to begin with, because I have the faith that that is mine, to be my best self, to be better in this world, and to show up as a person that can be a blessing to others. So I hope that was helpful to somebody. Do you know your core values? You know what? They help you to stay on the road, on your unique path, y'all. That's your way you're not swaying to and fro based off other people's values and what matters to them. All right? Okay. Well, that's it for me today. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.